Blake Lively is losing it after the public gave her the most brutal reality check of her career.
You're basically saying you're a liar. You misrepresent who you are.
She thinks she can fool us, but everyone sees through her manipulative tactics now.
In the court of public opinion, they've lost.
Hollywood and fans alike are boycotting her like it's the last day on Earth, and her follower count is dropping at a record-breaking rate.
And note the consequence has been terrible for Blake and Ryan in terms of people following them.
Blake Lively is officially the most hated woman in Hollywood. And let's be honest, she brought it all on herself. Once a so-called Hollywood darling, she's now completely fallen from grace. And fans are done with her manipulative, control freak antics. And the best part, Justin Baldoni, the man she tried to bury, is the one winning in the court of public opinion.
This is insane. What are you talking about? She genuinely is not aware of how insane she sounds.
At this point, Blake's reputation is in flames, and social media is absolutely destroying her every move. But if there was one moment that made it clear she's fully spiraling, it was the Hollywood Reporter cover on February 22nd. I mean, what was supposed to be a simple magazine piece turned into a full-on public execution.
There's a lot of comments that she puts in here that you're just like, why would you want to take over someone's movie? The outfits in this end are so out of touch. No, we don't want to watch bullies like Blake.
The image of her launching a slingshot at Baldoni is absolute gold, because that's exactly what she tried to do to him. But guess what? It backfired spectacularly. And now, she's the one getting slammed from all sides. She can cry and play the victim all she wants. But the numbers don't lie, and nobody is buying her.
That's insane and that's crazy. And this is a reason why I think in the future people are just not going to work with her, because it's starting to add up. People are realizing that this is a pathology.
Here's the thing. Hollywood can try all it wants to spin narratives. But at the end of the day, fans control the game now. And Blake Lively? Oh, she's getting obliterated online. Since September, she has lost a staggering 864,085 followers. Meanwhile, Justin Baldoni is up 230,896. You can't fake those numbers, and you can't PR your way out of facts.
While Team Blake Lively may think they have the upper hand, sources say she has no idea what's coming regarding her battle with Justin Baldoni.
But the real game changer was January, when Baldoni filed his lawsuit. That's when people woke up to the reality of who Blake really is. That month alone, she lost 329,557 followers, the biggest drop she's had in 5 years.
That over the last 30 days, she has lost 397,000 subscribers, okay? That is not a small amount. If you similarly go over to Ryan Reynolds, he's lost almost the same amount, 1,000 more than her, 398,000 subscribers.
Meanwhile, Baldoni, up 159,644. And if that wasn't bad enough for her, February made things even worse. Blake lost another 363,930 followers, while Baldoni gained 196,230. The message from fans is crystal clear. They're rejecting Blake and rallying behind Baldoni. And honestly, she deserves every bit of this.
When you weigh it against Justin Baldoni, look at his statistics. Over the last 30 days, he has received 206, or you could almost say 207,000 additional followers.
Because before Baldoni's lawsuit, people were still falling for her lies. So let's be real. For a second, people actually believed her. But then Baldoni pulled out the receipts, and everything changed.
There's a version of this where Justin Baldoni was just Michael Scott in The Office, where he's just saying inappropriate things, but not with any ill will. But Blake Lively, much more different culturally, more about the power and thinking that this is about the feminist Me Too movement. How dare you do this?
Mark Porcar, the CEO of QR Code Generator Pro, even confirmed how fast public opinion flipped against her once Baldoni hit back. And that's because people finally started paying attention. They realized that this wasn't some feminist #MeToo moment. This was just Blake Lively being a manipulative, power-hungry control freak who didn't get her way.
So I found that incredibly telling. Hidden in a little footnote, her protection that, well, you know, I was told they were lawfully obtained. Yikes. Big, big yikes.
And now she's drowning in backlash. YouTube bloggers, tea channels, and personal creators are tearing her apart. Millions of views are being racked up daily, and there's nothing she or her PR team can do to stop it. She thought she could play the victim card and everyone would blindly rally behind her. Instead, she's being laughed at.
I will happily participate in releasing any further leaks that they have because the truth should be out there.
If fans have rejected her, Hollywood is fully done with her. Because if there's one thing Hollywood hates, it's an actor who causes problems on set. And Blake Lively, oh, she's been exposed as an absolute nightmare to work with.
They're showing a little ankle, but not the whole leg, if you know what I mean. I'm sure she wouldn't approve of that reference. Too sexist.
The worst part, she wasn't even the director of It Ends With Us, but she acted like she owned the entire production. This wasn't her movie, but she still forced script changes, overrode the director's decisions, and completely took over the project like some wannabe Steven Spielberg.
That's control, that's selfishness, that's entitlement. This woman is a monster.
And you know what's even crazier? She had no official authority to do any of this. She was just an actress and an executive producer. But somehow she thought that meant she could turn the entire production into the Blake Lively show.
So she's
I mean,
a
they
serial
sound reasonable.
fraudster. That's called fraud. She's a Me Too victim there. That's absurd.
And because of this, people were scared to challenge her. Crew members and co-stars were allegedly afraid to speak up because they knew that if Blake Lively didn't like you, your Hollywood career could be over. This woman has spent years crafting a fake America's sweetheart persona. But in reality, she's a manipulative tyrant.
She claims he sexual harassed her, and then by the time they premiered the movie, they weren't even speaking to each other. She made him stay in the basement, and Ryan Reynolds turned on him too. And then she claimed that he unleashed a bad PR campaign against her.
And it's not just crew members who are backing away. Other Hollywood stars don't even want to be associated with her anymore. Jenny Slate and other unnamed actresses were allegedly pressured into supporting her fake narrative. But Blake's PR machine is failing miserably because even her Hollywood friends are backing off. The Hollywood Reporter cover exposed her for what she is. That cover was the final straw, because it wasn't just a funny illustration, it was a statement. It painted her as the aggressor, not the victim. And everyone saw through her desperate attempts to spin it as sexist.
Witnesses are staying anonymous. They're terrified of threats and bullying. It's a very neutral and interesting piece.
That was when the industry fully turned against her. Because let's be real, Hollywood doesn't care about morality, they care about power. And when someone becomes a liability, they get tossed aside. Right now, Blake Lively is a massive liability.
Now the Hollywood Reporter has seemingly outed the two actresses' names. They're pretty much being bullied to respond.
Ryan Reynolds and Blake can try all they want to play the PR game, but it's too late. The damage is done. People see her for who she is now, and there's no going back. At this point, she's not just losing fans, she's losing Hollywood itself. Studios don't want to work with her, because who the hell would risk hiring someone who hijacks productions and throws tantrums when they don't get their way?
Even if Justin was too huggy or whatever the heck, or said she was sexy, none of this warrants this. And you still have to atone for what you did.
Blake was given everything: a dream career, a perfect Hollywood husband, industry connections, and endless PR support. But she got too arrogant. She thought she could control everything. And now she's losing it all.
You're admitting that you go in there and you're like, yeah, I'd like to be an actor, and then you take over everything. I mean, just imagine taking this out of the context of celebrities, and you call a plumber to come fix your toilet.
Meanwhile, Justin Baldoni is coming out of this looking like an absolute saint. The contrast between them couldn't be bigger. While Blake is spiraling, throwing tantrums, and losing everything, Justin is literally chilling in Hawaii, surfing, and enjoying life. Blake Lively's meltdown is getting worse by the second, and honestly, it's hilarious to watch. She thought she could play the victim, but now she's getting dragged by everyone: fans, Hollywood, and even the media. And the biggest slap in the face came on February 22nd, when the Hollywood Reporter put out a cover that completely obliterated her fake narrative.
Now, Blake, allegedly, according to these sources, and there's a lot of stuff in here, whole piece is worth a read. Now, Blake has shared with friends, allegedly, that she considers this a fight that's bigger than her.
The cover alone was enough to make Blake spiral. It showed her launching a slingshot at Justin Baldoni, which, let's be real, is exactly what she's been trying to do since this whole mess started. But instead of owning up to the truth, she did what she always does: play the victim. She cried sexism as if that would somehow erase the fact that she's the one who tried to destroy Baldoni's career.
I want to go through some of these pieces because hear me out. Here it is. So from the outset, the feud's been framed as the newest chapter in Hollywood's ongoing fight for gender equality.
The backlash was immediate, and social media absolutely roasted her for melting down over a cartoon. This is the same woman who loves to preach about being a strong, independent feminist, yet she's throwing a fit over an illustration. The hypocrisy is next level. And let's talk about what the article actually exposed, because this wasn't just about a funny cover. It went deeper. It completely destroyed Blake's narrative by revealing that Baldoni's Baha'i faith played a major role in his behavior. Not harassment, just cultural differences misunderstood in Hollywood. So basically, Blake took something completely innocent and twisted it into a scandal just to sabotage him. And now, it's all coming back to bite her.
One likely to be remembered as the spark that ignited the next chapter of the Me Too movement. On the other side is a billionaire producer, a novice filmmaker, director, and a small Baha'i, sorry if I'm saying that wrong. I think it's Baha'i employees who believe they are simply living up to the moral code of their faith.
If Blake thought she could win this legal battle, she clearly didn't plan for Justin Baldoni to actually fight back, because the second he did, her entire case started crumbling like a cheap Hollywood set. Let's start with the most embarrassing part. She tried to erase key text messages from her lawsuit to make her case look stronger. But here's the problem. Baldoni kept everything, and now all her shady little edits are out in the open. Legal analysts are tearing her case apart, pointing out that it's full of inconsistencies, contradictions, and straight-up strategic omissions. She thought she could rewrite reality, but now she's getting exposed for the liar she is.
You're basically saying you're a liar. You misrepresent who you are. Maybe that has something to do with why you're now being sued for promissory fraud, because you're admitting that you go in there.
And then there's Brian Friedman, Baldoni's aggressive, no-nonsense litigator who is completely tearing her accusations to shreds. Friedman isn't here to play PR games. He's here to win, and that's exactly what he's doing. Every single move Blake makes, he's already 10 steps ahead.
He's not a party to our case here in New York. That's what Brian Friedman did. He's just a savage. Brian Friedman is actually my spirit animal.
Blake's last-minute amended complaint was an act of pure desperation. Instead of actually providing evidence, she just doubled down on vague accusations that mean absolutely nothing. She really thought people wouldn't notice that she had no receipts. But at this point, her entire legal strategy is a joke.
He just slaps her down. I don't know what else to say. Probably because he probably doesn't take kind to just being manipulated. You know, you should have just been like, I want an extension because I don't have any proof.
And now, Hollywood lawyers are openly comparing this case to Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard, but with one huge difference. Blake doesn't have the public on her side. She thought she could weaponize the hashtag #MeToo movement, but instead, she's become the new Amber Heard. The entire internet has turned against her, and there's no coming back from that. While Blake is out here getting exposed left and right, Ryan Reynolds is trying to do damage control, but honestly, he's just making things worse.
There's something about this story that kind of violates our safety in a way of feeling like people were nice and then realizing that they were totally behaving like psychopaths and were doing something taking it so far as Ryan Reynolds did.
The most embarrassing moment came during the SNL 50th anniversary special, where he tried to joke about the situation with Tina Fey and Amy Poehler. When Fey asked how he was doing, he awkwardly quipped, "Great. Why? What have you heard?"
Oh, hey, Ryan Reynolds.
Hi.
Hey. Ryan Reynolds, how's it going?
Great. Why? What have you heard?
Yeah, bad move, Ryan. That joke backfired hard because, let's be real, this isn't some lighthearted drama that you can laugh off. Some people thought it was funny, but most people dragged him for making light of serious accusations. It came off as tone-deaf and dismissive. And instead of shifting the conversation away from Blake, he just made it worse.
He did this publicity stunt last night where they went on SNL and Ryan Reynolds made this silly joke, this really silly joke.
And here's the thing. Ryan has spent years crafting this perfect husband persona, but now his reputation is starting to crack. Because at the end of the day, he's defending a woman that everyone can see is a manipulative, power-hungry liar.
It's it's SNL 50-year anniversary. And or Saturday night, whatever. Ryan Reynolds stands up and she's like, "How's it going?" He's like, "Good. Why? What have you heard?" And it was all, ha, 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 ha.
His attempts to shield Blake have completely failed, and he's now getting dragged into the mess with her. Hollywood is starting to step back, because nobody wants to be associated with this disaster. The second Ryan's brand starts to suffer, he's going to regret ever backing Blake's lies.
I didn't like him. Just gonna be straight with you. I don't fucking like him. So they're both equally repulsive.
And the funniest part? Blake and Ryan's Hollywood allies are slowly disappearing. At first, some celebrities tried to support her, but now they're backing away fast because nobody wants to get caught defending a sinking ship. At this point, Blake's entire world is crumbling around her. Her legal case is falling apart, her PR tactics aren't working, her husband is taking L's left and right, and Hollywood itself is ready to throw her out. She thought she could manipulate everyone, but now she's just getting exposed over and over again.
They're sort of radioactive. In one breath, Blake Lively is saying she was the subject of serious sexual harassment during the filming of It Ends With Us, and now they're making light of it on SNL's 50th reunion show. So tonally, it does seem off, and I can imagine people just wanting to stay away from it. You're going to catch shrapnel if you get involved in this drama at this point.
Meanwhile, Justin Baldoni is just sitting back, watching all of this unfold, while everyone realizes he was the real victim all along. Blake tried to ruin his career, but in the end, she only destroyed herself. Justin Baldoni is winning this scandal without even trying, and that's exactly why Blake Lively is spiraling into full-blown crisis mode. While she's running around like a headless chicken, trying and failing to save her reputation, Baldoni is out here chilling in Hawaii, completely unbothered.
Exactly. I think that's so telling how confident she is to just say, I have no qualms lying to the director, taking control of their movie, pulling the rug from them. Like, oh my God.
That's right. While Blake is losing followers, getting roasted in the media, and begging Hollywood to still take her seriously, Baldoni is literally surfing in Hawaii, letting the legal battle and public opinion do the work for him. And guess what? It's working. Because here's the thing. The more Blake acts desperate, the more powerful and mature Baldoni looks. He hasn't engaged in drama. He hasn't played the PR game. He hasn't whined to the press. He's just sat back and watched as the truth exposed itself. And now, Hollywood is rallying behind him.
Well, yeah, that's because that's what you did. You knowingly admitted that's what you do. They want an actress, they hire an actress, they pay you to be an actress. That's your job. But then you do exactly what Justin's accusing you of.
People see him for what he really is, a guy who got manipulated, lied about, and almost had his career destroyed by one of the most powerful couples in Hollywood. And let's not forget how Blake and Ryan tried to completely isolate him. They pushed him out of his own movie's marketing, kept him out of promotions, and made sure he wasn't even part of the press cycle for a film he co-produced. They tried to erase him, humiliate him, and convince the world he was some creepy, inappropriate co-star. But now, the tables have turned.
She wrested his movie away from him and decided to try to hurt him with petty, made-up, out-of-context complaints when he pushed back even in the mildest way.
Blake thought she could control the narrative, but Baldoni's silence has spoken louder than anything she's tried to pull, and now Hollywood sees her for what she is. A manipulative, power-hungry actress who destroyed her own career out of pure arrogance. Meanwhile, Baldoni's future in Hollywood looks stronger than ever. Studios aren't blacklisting him, directors aren't running from him, and he's coming out of this looking like a composed, respected professional. Blake, on the other hand, she's finished.
And imagine if Justin had just known this, if this clip had gone viral before to avoid this whole mess. I'm just the entitlement of her that she thinks this is okay and like proudly displaying us. We're women, so we can just lie and cheat and steal our way into control these big movies.
Hollywood doesn't care about morality, ethics, or even justice. Hollywood cares about money and reputation. And right now, Blake Lively is officially the biggest liability in the industry. Nobody wants to work with an actress who hijacks productions, throws tantrums when she doesn't get her way, and plays the victim when things go south. Studios are watching everything that's happening, and the message is clear. Hiring Blake Lively is a financial and PR nightmare.
That I wanted to be a part of the storytelling, that I wanted to be a part of the narrative, whether that be in the writing and the costume design and creating the character. And sometimes I had directors or producers or writers who would welcome that and invite that once they saw that I was able to offer that. And sometimes I would have people who really resented that because they were like, we just hired you to be an actor.
And if you think this is just online drama, think again. Because behind the scenes, industry insiders are already reconsidering their involvement with her. Her upcoming projects are being quietly reevaluated, and some are even being delayed or shelved entirely. Because who the hell would want to take a risk on her after this?
Because I don't think she even realizes what she's admitting. Sometimes they'd let me and sometimes they wouldn't. And that then she goes further and says, I would just lie to them in the audition process and make them think I'm just an actress to do what they want.
She was supposed to be the star of It Ends With Us, and instead, she turned it into the biggest disaster of her career. Her reputation as a control freak is now fully documented, and there's no Hollywood executive stupid enough to ignore that.
Blake Lively is caught in old footage, revealing that yes, her secret plan is to always take control of the movies and lie to the directors.
And let's talk about the people in her own industry backing away. Hollywood runs on connections, and for years, Blake and Ryan were at the top of the A-list social circle. But now, people are distancing themselves. Nobody wants to be associated with a sinking ship. And right now, Blake's career is going down faster than the Titanic. Her PR disaster is getting worse by the day, and Hollywood elites are treating her like a toxic brand that nobody wants to touch.
And what it sounds like is that she's not interested in being a part of a team. She just wants to own it all. And that's fine. If that is your method of working, then do that. But you have to create your own projects. You have to put yourself in that position that you are in charge, not take it from somebody else.
Even Taylor Swift, one of her closest celebrity friends, has stayed completely silent on this mess. And if Taylor isn't stepping in to defend her, you know it's bad. Because here's the reality. Blake isn't just losing fans, she's losing Hollywood itself. Blake thought she could manipulate Hollywood and social media, but now the tables have turned and she's the one being exposed. She spent years crafting the perfect PR image. The stylish, charming actress with the perfect marriage to Ryan Reynolds, the down-to-earth Hollywood sweetheart. But it was all fake. And now that her manipulative, controlling, power-hungry ways have been exposed, nobody wants to support her anymore.
And it's not enough. You don't even get to come to the premiere. You're not allowed in the premiere. Fine, but he goes in the basement when I show up. I mean, that's not authorship. That's not autonomy. That's control. That's selfishness. That's entitlement. This woman is a monster.
Her PR stunts have completely backfired, and she's losing support from both fans and industry insiders. Meanwhile, Justin Baldoni is coming out of this as the hero, the man who was unfairly attacked, bullied, and thrown under the bus, only for the truth to finally be revealed. He never had to scream about injustice. He never had to beg for sympathy. He just let Blake self-destruct, and she did exactly that.
What is appearing to be such obvious forms of bullying.
Hollywood has no patience for manipulative, controlling actors. And if there's one thing that's been made crystal clear in this scandal, it's that Blake Lively is one of the worst. She could have taken accountability, she could have stayed silent, she could have handled this like a professional. But instead, she played the victim, doubled down on her lies, and threw herself into full-on crisis mode. And now, her career may never recover from this. Because this isn't just bad press, this is career ending. And if Blake doesn't get a serious reality check soon, she's going to lose everything she worked for. But honestly, that's exactly what she deserves. She tried to ruin someone else's career, and in the process, she ended her own. Hollywood doesn't have room for actors like her anymore. And if she still thinks she can manipulate her way out of this, she's in for a rude awakening. Because the truth is finally out, and nobody is coming to save her. Because at the end of the day, Justin doesn't need PR games. He has the truth, and that's why he's winning. While Blake Lively is watching her career burn right in front of her eyes, Blake Lively's Hollywood reign is crumbling. And at this point, it's only a matter of time before she's completely done. Subscribe for more updates because this drama is far from over.